So welcome, Emma. Hi.
Thank you.
I'm Emma Spillane, who's Consultant Midwife at Kingston Hospital, has really kindly given up some of her time to join us here to kind of chat through the role of the Consultant Midwife. So in my capacity as an NCT and Hypnobirthing practitioner at Kingston and Hospital and other places, I always bring up the role of Consultant Midwife because it's never known about, and it's such an incredible, such a useful tool for women and partners. And I often say, if maybe the woman has been told you're not allowed to do this, or we won't let you, and she doesn't really fully understand why, and maybe there's not enough time at her appointment, to get in touch with the consultant midwife at whatever hospital she's under and kind of talk through that. And part of her role, amongst many other things, is to try her very best to get the birth that the woman's hoping for. And I thought it'd be great, Emma, if you could maybe just explain a little bit about your role and maybe give some examples of plans you've put in place and things like that. That would be fabulous.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
So the role itself is quite a unique role in terms of that it actually sits within the management role, but most consultant midwives don't have to manage an actual team. So we're really there for the women. So it's both a strategic and a clinical role. So the strategic aspect of that role is service development and service planning. And that is specifically around looking at ways to improve services for women. So is there anything that we can be implementing or explore the implementation of any service that would be beneficial to the women under our care? And then the other aspect of that is more of a clinical role. And it's quite a large part of my role as a consultant midwife in terms of meeting with women and their partners who are looking for, they really want midwifery-led care, but they might be under kind of obstetric-led care. So that they're looking to have, and I don't like this terminology, but it's the easiest way of explaining it actually, is they're looking for care outside of our guidance. And that could either be local guidance or national guidance. So examples of mothers that I may meet. So actually one of the biggest kind of groups of women that I see are mothers that have had a previous cesarean section and then are opting or would really like to give birth in our midwifery-led unit to the birth centre, or would actually like to have a home birth. And so I would meet with them, and usually over a series of consultations. Sometimes it's one consultation, but generally it's over a series of consultations, going through the benefits and the limitations of birthing in that environment, so that the woman can make a fully informed decision about whether she would like to continue with midwifery-led care, or whether she feels that we can put a plan in place to support her wishes in on the labour ward. So that's kind of a large part of my role.
Okay, yes, it's a different colour. So if so I suppose something a little less usual, whatever, just gives the woman the opportunity to kind of talk through it and go through maybe any evidence with you and things like that, and kind of get the pros and cons of the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important for women to know that us as healthcare practitioners are there to provide the information based on the best available evidence that we have, and we make recommendations based on that. But that's not right for every woman. And so I think women need to know that they do have a choice, and they don't have to adhere to those recommendations if they don't feel that that's the right choice for them.
So I suppose it's more, I mean, would you ever attend like an appointment with a woman that maybe who was with a consultant or anything like that, or is it more that she will speak with you in advance, or sometimes do you go along?
Yeah, it's quite varied. So I have midwives will refer women to me, consultant obstetricians will refer women to me. Sometimes I will see women, more often than not, I see women just as me as an individual, but I also work with the wider MDT team. So I might, if there's a mother planning on using the birth centre, then I would involve our birth centre lead to join us for that consultation, because she can then provide information around birth centre care as well. Or I might attend a consultant appointment with a woman to be there as an advocate for her. That's really important, that I know. It's something that I always tell women is actually I am an advocate for them. I do have a responsibility to give them the information, and it would be irresponsible of me not to provide those benefits and limitations. But ultimately I'm an advocate for her, so I will put a plan in place to support her wishes.
Yeah, and I guess do the best you can within the realms of safety to help her get the birth that she wants, kind of thing. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, that's brilliant. So ideally speaking, it'd be better if she kind of got in contact with you earlier rather than later, just to give you a bit of time to get things. Is that right? Or
yeah, I mean, it really depends on kind of the reason for them being referred to me, but women can self-refer, so they can just ask to be put in contact with a consultant midwife. And I think for more complex issues, it's good to have a good amount of time to have lots of conversations throughout pregnancy, and also to get to know the women, because in more complex cases I will actually attend those births myself. So I do on-calls for women who I think would benefit from having a more senior person there. And actually that's not just to support the women, but actually to support our staff, because it's really important that I don't just make a plan and say, there you go, midwives, you can now deal with that. I want them to know that I am fully taking responsibility for that, and I am looking after my staff as well, and working with them. We learn from each other from doing that as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and so she would just simply call up the main hospital number and ask you to put through to the consultant midwife, and I guess they give her an email or phone number, and I'm guessing face to face, maybe not so much now, or hopefully getting back an initial chat on the phone.
Yeah, so usually what I do is do an initial telephone contact and arrange a face-to-face appointment. So I do all my consultations face-to-face. I have done some video consultations, but that's been at the woman's request. Generally I do face-to-face, and we've been really lucky at Kingston that we've continued all our face-to-face appointments. So I will I offer to see them either in the hospital, so I usually use the birth centre because it's a nice calm environment and it gives them an opportunity to see that birthing area as well. Or I offer a home visit if they would like a home visit. And I don't have a set clinic, so I will see women very ad hoc because I want to be as flexible for the women as I possibly can.
Okay, so in terms of there's just your good self there, isn't there, at Kingston at the moment? So if the woman would have to, like, if she wanted to get in touch with you, she would just call up and then just wait for a call back or something if you weren't around, or if the consultant midwife's not around, then it'd just be a case of just trying again if she hasn't heard back within 24, 40 hours if you're on leave or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So she can either contact the hospital and they can put me through, put someone through to me either via switch or via the switchboard, or they can come through to my office number. Alternatively, you can ask your midwife to contact me on their behalf, and they will send me an email referral. So it comes straight through via email, and I pick my emails up regularly throughout the day, and I will contact the mother as soon as I can.
Sure. And so it's usually for things in advance, but would you ever would someone ever contact you kind of when they're in labour or something, if they're unsure about something, or is it more things in advance?
It's usually in advance, but that's not to say that I couldn't see someone in labour, and certainly staff will sometimes come, so midwives or doctors may come and find me and ask my advice about something, or ask me to go and see a mother who's already in labour, maybe has already started an induction process, or is an inpatient on our antenatal ward. And women similarly can request to see me even if they're in those scenarios as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. I think that's really just encompassed a role. Wanted to share it and make sure that as many women know about the amazing service as possible. So is there anything else you wanted to add or around the role?
I don't think so. I think that really covers it. I think it's just important for women to know that we are an advocate for them, and we're there to support them.
Mm.
And when we've had those conversations, if the mother decides to continue along the midwife-led care pathway, then I will then put a plan in place to support those wishes. And it's not, I call it a birth preference plan. And it's not a plan that overrides any birth plan that the parents would like to make for themselves for their birth. Really what it is a document which is available to the staff to say, we've had these conversations, we've already had these discussions, so you don't have to repeat it when the mother's in labour, because that's not a good time to have those discussions. And this is what you need to do to keep the mother safe and to keep the staff safe as well.
Yeah, that's like, it takes the pressure off the midwife then, doesn't it? You know, she see that it's been signed off, it's all okay, and yeah, it just helps everyone, doesn't it? So the mum feels safe and the midwife feels safe. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks so much, Emma.
Most welcome.
Stop recording. Quickly chat.